without its problems. So is the future looking cloudy? With me in the studio, expert for you tonight, Giles Cottle, joining us. He's a senior analyst at Informa Telecoms. What's your take on this new area of computing?
Well, I think if you look at some of the things Apple have announced today, they're not necessarily new announcements. Google have allowed you to sync your calendar and contacts for a long time. Amazon just launched a cloud music service last week. But I think what really is great about the Apple service is it's bringing all of these elements together in a very easy-to-use way, and really in a way that someone like my mum, for example, would be able to use quite easily instead of having to get all of these different things from different places.
Oh, once your mum can use it, it's all good news, isn't it? All right, let's get some viewer questions in here. We've got a lot of them have been calling us via Skype. Leaving some questions for you. Let's get straight to the first one. It's Samuel Idowu tonight in Sweden. This is what he says. Have a listen to this.
I'd like to know the different types of cloud systems and the differences between them.
Different types of cloud systems, then.
Crikey, that's a big one to start with. I mean, cloud computing, it's kind of an abused term. It can mean many, many different things. I mean, Gmail is an example of a cloud-based service that we've used for a long time. In the video before, we talked about OnLive, where a service is actually powered within the cloud. So cloud computing can be about infrastructure, simply storing something in the cloud, such as the document sharing feature of iCloud, or it can be about something actually being powered from within the cloud and all the processing that takes place there, which is why OnLive works, because you don't have to have an expensive console in your house.
Right, get with the programme then. Cloud is the word of the moment, and you'll be hearing more of it. Will Nathan in the UK is worried? He's got a question for you.
Well, it all sounds really good to me, but my biggest concern would be about privacy and whether it increases the chances of hacking personal data and stuff like this. Is this a problem?
What's the danger of our info being nicked?
I think if you talk to Sony, they'll tell you that hacking is a huge problem, and I don't think Will is alone in that concern. I mean, all big online systems, well, not all, but the majority of them have been hacked at some point. Hotmail, which is used by hundreds of millions of people, had a major data breach a couple of years ago. I think there's probably an argument actually that Apple is perhaps less susceptible to hacking than other systems. The Macs, for example, are famous for not being susceptible to to viruses as Windows PCs, and Apple's a very closed ecosystem. I think the risks, there are constant attacks and denial of service attacks, and I think really it's just up to people like Apple to make sure that their systems are watertight.
Yeah, and I guess many of us have just got to get used to it at the end of the day. All right, and finally, Giles, Jonathan Hamill in Japan.
How can we be assured that the cloud won't suddenly crash?
Good point.
Very good point. And actually, Jonathan, we can't be. You talked about the Amazon outage recently. Gmail has suffered some serious outages, and again, unfortunately, this is a major risk of cloud computing. There have been big businesses that have failed because systems have gone down, and it's not just at that end that the problem is as well. If your network operator or service provider has an outage, then suddenly you can't access any of your contacts or content.
How about backing things up by just writing them down then, Giles?
Well,
not a bad idea.
that's a good point. If you can write down all your films and songs, that would work. But I think